Hello, McFluffy52 here, back with some more Bloomburrow action. Today we're playing a mono green Stompy deck with some of the new Bloomburrow cards. Now this deck has a bit of a story behind it. As I've said, I've been struggling a bit to make some Bloomburrow decks. I think it's because I'm reluctant to build the kind of typal decks that Wizards of the Coast have designed for each of the colors. It just feels a bit pre-built to me, and so it kind of takes away some of the fun of building decks. And so I think I've kind of forced myself to build things outside of their closely knit like typal synergies, and that's made it a little bit more difficult for me. Also, I'm just bad at building decks, but this isn't a deck that I built, and so that's a good thing, because as I was struggling, what do you do when you're struggling to figure things out? Well, I went and tried to figure out what is working for other people. So I went ahead and I went to Untap.gg. I really like the website. Hopefully they sponsor me sometime. But anyways, I went to Untap.gg. I was looking at what decks are working for people currently. Currently, their whole like meta tab and decks aren't really like up to date since Bloomburrow came out like 2 or 3 days ago at this point. But I was looking at they have a list of people who made mythic within like the past 24 hours and what deck they made mythic with. So I went ahead, I saw somebody made mythic with mono green. I went ahead, checked it out, and this is Saworz, Stompy green list. They made it to mythic with a record of 12-6, so a 67% win rate. And I was like, okay, that seems pretty good. How does it work? So I went ahead and played it myself. The ladder reset yesterday, so I was back down in, I think I actually started in silver because I only made it into platinum last month. And so I was fighting my way through silver and gold with this deck. I went 13-5 with a 72% win rate. So this deck seems to be working pretty well. We'll see how we do on the ladder right now, but let's go ahead and go through a few of the new cards. We have Pawpatch Recruit, which is this 1 mana 2/1 with trample that says whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, put a +1 counter on target creature you control other than that creature. And what they mean by that is other than the creature that is being targeted by that spell. So like if somebody was going to target something with a cut down, you can't put the counter on it to try and stop them from cutting it down. But yep, that's one of the new cards. Another one, which is one of my favorite ones, this 2 mana 3/3 Raccoon Scout. As long as you have 4 more card types exiled with it, you get +4/+4 and trample. And you can pay 1 to exile target card from a graveyard. So you want to kind of pick up different card types if you can. This is not super relevant, but it's nice to have graveyard hit against like Haughty Djinn, for example. Like you just exile all their instants from their graveyard and they'll never be able to hit you for a bunch of damage in the air. Talking about air, Scrapshooter is another really good card from Bloomburrow. It's a 3 mana 4/4 with reach. It is a raccoon archer, so it makes a little bit of sense that it has reach. It's got its crossbow there. And if you gift a card, so if you let your opponent draw a card when this enters the battlefield, when it enters the battlefield, it will destroy target artifact or enchantment opponent controls. So this is great because it's 3 mana 4/4. So it'll trigger all your evolve type abilities that care about higher power and toughness creatures entering the battlefield, and then it's a really good blocker, and then it also has reach, so all those pesky flying threats, think of bats in particular is a good example of an archetype that's running around a lot. Reach is really relevant, and then its power toughness is quite relevant. Some of the other cards that I may have slept on a little bit too much is I think that this is the best one here. Innkeeper's Talent is a 2 mana class enchantment, so it has levels that you can level up, but at the beginning of combat on your turn you put a +1 counter on target creature you control, and then for 1 additional mana you can give permanents you control with counters on them have ward 1. So this is a good way of protecting your creatures a little. And then if you pay 4, you have this really splashy ability. It's a little hard to pay 4 when you're rather be developing your board at this point, but if you do get to, you have nothing in your hand to do and you do get to pay for this, if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many counters, or each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. So this will double up all your counter synergy type effects, which is nice. There aren't a ton of them, but it is still good. Another new card here is Hunter's Talent. It's another class enchantment. This one's an uncommon. It's just a 2-mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, it will deal damage equal to its power to target creature, target creature you control will deal damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. And then if you pay 2, you can level up to the second mode, which is whenever you attack, you get to give target attacking creature +1/+0 and trample until end of turn, which is kind of helpful because you have your cards like Flourishing Bloomkin, which can have a lot of power and toughness, but it doesn't have trample because it has power and toughness equal to the number of forests you control, essentially. So if you have like 5 forests out there, it's a 2-mana 5/5, but it doesn't have trample, and so Hunter's Talent can help with that by giving it trample. And then the last mode, again, 4 mana is really hard to pay when you're trying to go aggro and keep creatures entering the battlefield, but if you do get to this and you have nothing better to do, paying 4, and then at the beginning of each your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. So this can help you in some niche scenarios where you get to it. Nice extra value. Now, I think one of the things that differentiates this deck from the mono green deck that I was trying is that we're trying to be basically very mana efficient, and then we're also caring about like power and toughness. So we have a lot of 3 drops that have 4 power and toughness, or 4 power at least. One of them being one of the cards that you don't really see in mono green Stompy a lot is Outcaster Trailblazer. It's a 3 mana 4/2, and then when it enters the battlefield, you add 1 mana of any color, and then when another creature you control with power 4 or greater enters, draw a card. So this can help you draw cards whenever you cast your other like 4 power creatures, or if you have enough forests and you cast a Flourishing Bloomkin. And then this can't be understated, when it enters the battlefield, it gives you 1 mana, and so this can allow you to be very mana efficient because you play this and then you also cast a hard-hitting question. It's this 1 mana removal spell that green has, and so that can be a really powerful sequence of plays, and I think that's one of the reasons this deck is better than some of the green decks I've put together and potentially seen. So let's go ahead and hop onto the ladder and see how we can do. Okay, this hand doesn't seem terrible. We do have like a 1-drop and then a 2-drop. I have to say one thing, double check which class you are holding, because the amount of times I've played out the Hunter's Talent when I think it's the Innkeeper's Talent is a little bit shameful. It is an easy mistake to make. That's what I'd like to say. Yeah, we have 1-drop. Sometimes it's nice that you can Offspring this, but most of the time I just run it out for 1. I really do like the Offspring mechanic though, because it turns pretty much every like regular creatures into better like late game draws, because then you can just get extra value. And then getting 2 creatures is nice when there's a lot of 1-for-1 removal. Cut down. Nope. Okay, I was kind of expecting it, but fair enough. Get the talent down. I almost was worried that it was the other talent. Bloated Contaminator. Bloated Contaminator is really cool because when it deals combat damage to a player, you proliferate. So it can work well with some of these counter synergies. Opponent's got a lot of these Vine Lashers, so hopefully... I don't know what to hope. All I know is I'm a little bit afraid of the amount of damage. Tiny Bones. I think I'm gonna run the Pawpatch Recruit in and see if they block with Tiny Bones. And then I can play Bloated Contaminator as a blocker, or I Offspring the Pawpatch Recruit if they don't block with the Tiny Bones. Okay. Then we could have a easy chump block on the Tiny Bones. Don't really want to trade a 3-drop for a 1-drop if we can avoid it. Next turn we can play a Bloated Contaminator and level up our class. The opponent has done nothing but play lands and we're almost dead. Alright. What is the right move here? Do kind of want to level up the Innkeeper's talent just to get ward would be nice to slow down any sort of removal they could be using, but load a Contaminator. I really would like to also develop the bloated contaminators though. We can always level up the ward second main phase, especially if this thing dies. They could triple block. They do not triple block, which is huge. I think I'm just going to run out the Pawpatch Recruit because it's a little bit more effective than perhaps leveling up the Innkeeper's talent, because we get counters, which allows us to try and keep killing our opponent. Also allows us to block the Flesh Gorger so they don't just get free hits. Archfiend of the Dross. Hunter's Talent. What a top deck. That is huge, because we can get rid of their Archfiend of the Dross, or we could get rid of their Flesh Gorger and then try and go for just smack face. Nah, I think we get rid of the Archfiend and then I will go ahead. Do we need to give something trample? No. I think I could always play this second main phase, but I don't think it's gonna matter here. We'll put a counter on this and then swing in like this. If I swing in like this is 13 trampling damage. They have 7 toughness, 3 lifelink, so that yeah, there's no way we kill them. This forces an awkward block, because now if they don't block, these bloated contaminators are getting out of control. Gain 3 life, but we get to proliferate twice. So this is crazy. They're almost gonna die to poison at the same time. Do a little burning. Childred. Ouch, that does hurt a little. Mono black burn, I respect it. I do think Flesh Gorger is a card that is very valuable right now, because it gives you that lifelink into so many of the aggro decks that are running around. 1 win. Good so far. Let's see how we can do this. This is a hand. This is like, I mean, we have 3 lands and a bunch of 3 drops, so we have nothing to do turn 2, but like, we're going second, so we're gonna draw another card. Do we really feel like mulliganing? But maybe there's an argument to mulligan since we're going second, because doesn't matter if we go down. Okay, this is literally the same hand but worse, because we have 2 lands. What the heck? It's crazy. I might keep 2 Scrapshooters, because if they're playing black, they're gonna have the bats. Now we need to draw a land, and potentially like a 2-drop or 1-drop. We're playing, I mean, we have a 1-drop, but we're playing 4 1-drops, and then how many 2-drops? Pull up the deck. Whoa, I have like a full screen ad on Untapped. Not fair. Yeah, we have Evolving Adaptive, Pawpatch Recruit, and then for our 1-drops, we have Flourishing Bloomkin, Kenn-Eyed Curator, and Sharp-Eyed Rookie as our 2-drops. So we have 12 2-drops, and that's not including the Hunter's Talent and the Innkeeper's Talent, which we have 1 and 2 of respectively. This is gonna get rough. Bunnies get wide and they get big. I'll just trade, but they could have a pump spell, but that's only used for creatures. Colors, if it's not a creature spell, so. Definitely a bad bad time for us right now. Don't have a bunch of 1-drops, and then the opponent goes 1-drop into 2-drop into 2-drop, 1-drop. Yeah, that's probably gonna do it. Yeah, there's nothing here that is going to save us, I don't think. Let's play this. I'd be inclined to concede, but, you know, sometimes strange things happen, and we'll give it a chance for the video. The power of going first, and then also having a good hand. Okay. You got this. I believe in you, opponent. Opponent opted to convoke out a Knight Errant of Eos. I tried to pause there because they were taking their sweet time. I mean, can't really take the hit, otherwise we just die next turn. Drawing a land would be pretty chill. Oh, great. Opponent casts an Offspring Pawpatch Recruit. And yeah, we're dead. We can only block one of them, and then they 2/3/3s hit in. Okay. Some semblance of a curve. The opponent still goes first, so we're probably gonna lose. Best of 1! Let's go! Oh, Fabled Passage. That's a good sign. That is potentially a very good sign for us. We might not be dead. Opponent has mana to counterspell. I wonder if our opponent's playing a Jeskai control deck. Because the deuce and the fact that they're not really developing their board is a good sign that they might be playing a control deck. In that case, we're going to have a rough time if they have a temporary lockdown. Temporary lockdown is, I think, a card that has gotten better since rotation. It's awkward, but green rewards you for playing your creatures in your first main phase rather than your second. So they can choose and pick and choose what creatures they like to remove based off of full knowledge of what we're putting on the board this turn. And they don't get punished by getting hit first. Okay, that is... What is our opponent up to? I'm kind of confused. The cave is not what I was expecting. Brass Forge, okay. And, yeah, let's just keep developing our, board for as much damage as possible. That's what we're supposed to do. Okay, yeah. No temporary lockdown, no, like, lightning helix. I'm kind of confused. I guess it makes sense that they were not playing temporary lockdown. I think what they were trying to play was the Simulacrum synthesizer style deck. And in that case, it would make sense that they're running the Forge as the 3-mana artifact, and then you'd be reluctant to get rid of all your constructs. Oh my goodness. Again, we're on the draw. Can we get on the play, please? I think we can let Tiny Bones hit us. So we have the Hunter's Talent next turn. As long as they don't remove our Hunter's Talent or our Pawpatch Recruit. They could remove it in response to this, which would oops. Maybe they passed turn and forgot about their removal spell. No, wait, they forgot to play their land. We were on the draw, right? I swear I just said that. And then somehow we're ahead of them in lands. They did say oops, and that is a bit of an oops, I would say. What does this thing do again? Deals combat damage to a player. If you commit a crime this turn, you may sacrifice it, search your library for a card, put it into your hand. Interesting. I am going to opt to play, I think, Innkeeper's Talent, put a counter on the Pawpatch Recruit. Swing in. They trade, that's fine. It was a 1-drop for a 2-drop. And then I'm gonna get the Evolving Adaptive out. We need creatures, especially when the opponent could play like a Liliana and make us sacrifice a creature. I guess in that case we would have ran into it a bit, because it would be better to Outcaster Trailblazer and run out both of them, maybe. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. Can we out aggro them? I think so. And we can also blow up their enchantment with the Scrapshooter. I kind of want to put this here to make it harder for them to kill things. The Evolving Adaptive can get hit by cut down, so we're gonna do this first. We're going aggro, I think. I don't know. Skeletons are scary. Was that a skeleton? Human Warlock. Interesting. Shoot the sheriff. Okay. Evolving Adaptive is still here. I don't want the Scrapshooter here. Our Evolving Adaptive still gets larger. Destroy that, so their creature is no longer buffed. And we'll put a counter on the Scrapshooter so it has Ward 1 to make the removal less effective. And then we're chilling. Might need to level up the Hunter's Talent to give one of our things Trample, but I think we have this in the bag. Can't block. Gonna have to pay the ward cost. Right, fine with me. I think we're gonna win this battle. Give this ward 1. Win. Alright, next turn we either end it or they have another removal spell. Or they have like Shieldred. It's not a skeleton, but it is a mono black guard. Another removal spell. Gosh darn it. I mean, we're taxing them hard here because now they can't play another 2-drop, but it is a little annoying. I think this makes for lethal. And then we get the +1/+0. Ow. GG's. Not gonna lie, I've already forgotten our match record. I'm trying to refresh Untapped to see if it can give me an answer, but Untapped can be a little bit slow to update sometimes. Simic cookies, eh? Ginger Brute is scary. They're trying to cookie us. Put Kenn-Eyed Curator down so we can exile things from their graveyard. If we exile like Ginger Brute or the Saga, we get nice boofs. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now they need their buff. Alright, what is the right sequence here is my question. Flourishing Bloomkin. I'm gonna hold up the... I think I'm gonna hold up the clues as well as the Kenn-Eyed Curator, just in case they have like an Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Okay. Because if they like blocked with the Ginger Brute, and I guess they could have run out a Flourishing Bloomkin. They have 3 food, so they have 3 counters on something. Wait, my bad. That many +1, so they have 4 counters on something. A bit obnoxious, but we're live. Live for now. I think we need to start swinging in. Map. Could have a bounce spell is the only problem with blue, and bounce spells are like 1 mana. Unblockable. Intriguing. I mean, I don't think they have anything in their graveyard that's worth anything, so we'll just crack blue. Hopefully we find a fight spell or something. Ding ding ding. Already any questions? Let's get rid of this dude. Got a Flourishing Bloomkin. It's time for No Mercy. Swing. Probably should have swung in with the Curator last turn, but I valued being able to exile like the Ginger Brute from their graveyard. Or then we can crack the clues, which have been helpful. Because we wouldn't have hit that hard hitting questions if we didn't crack the clue. Counters on the Ginger Brute. Don't think it's gonna matter. You can actually destroy the Ginger Brute with a Scrapshooter. Didn't even think about that. Could they kill us from this point? If they have the right sequence of cards, they could potentially kill us here. They could give it base power and toughness 5/4. Okay. We have, what do we have in the graveyards? I can't check because the client is bugged. I'm gonna go no blocks. If I die here, it is what it is. Enchantment, creature, sorcery. Any artifacts? No. So we can't get our Kenn-Eyed Curator to where we want it, but it's fine. Hopefully let this resolve, please. 3D, please. I probably shouldn't be doing this because, well, they probably have a bounce spell anyways, but drawing them a card is always a questionable move. Alright, we're gonna hold up the Kenn-Eyed Curator. So we can exile the Ginger Brute effect from the graveyard. That's an artifact and a creature. And we would very easily get to the full amount of creature types, so we could give it +4/+4 and trample. Let's go. Okay. I like this hand. We got Evolving Adaptive, which we can play like Pawpatch Recruit to trigger. That's like one nice thing is if you have like Evolving Adaptive plus Pawpatch Recruiter, your Evolving Adaptive becomes a 2/2, which is pretty nice. A lot of these creatures are warriors is another interesting thing. So if you were inclined, you could try. Well, there's a few creatures that are warriors, but maybe you could get a Cavern of Souls into the deck. Don't think it's particularly necessary because you're so low to the ground. Or you're pretty low to the ground. Speaking of low to the ground, we're about to die. Again, we're on the draw. Thanks. Thanks, Wizards. Blame it on Wizards. Nah, I just got to get better at being on the play. The skill issue, really. Oy, Rumba. That's a fun one. I do like the Mirren Bane Splitter. It is a cool card. We are very much like dying to this. Like I couldn't really block there because even if we blocked, we wouldn't have been able to kill it. But they just need like a single fling spell, and they can kill us with one of these and a pump spell. Because these both say when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. This one also says that, but it also has when it becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, put a +1 counter on it. That was fun. Okay, land is huge. That opens up our options some. I think what I will do is I'll cast this and then the Pawpatch Recruit. I think it's the best use of our mana. It has vigilance, so why not swing in? If they block and they try and shoot it down, I see it as a win. Opponent did not have the right mixture of pump spells, it seems. Pump spells and creatures. I think mulliganing is one of the like most underrated skills in Magic. Don't really care about the Pawpatch Recruit, to be honest. Oh no. This is a bit dumb, but honestly, if they block it, I still feel like that's a win. Okay, they do go for the block. Hey. Still feel like this is a win because that is a potential like problem on their board. We have almost even number of cards, but we also have a clue, and we have board presence where they do not. That is not fair. Slick shot, show off. All right. I mean, we have no instant speed way of dealing with the slick shot show off, so let's just push damage and hope we don't die. Alright, next turn, assuming we don't die here, We're in for a win. Monstrous Rage and like some other spell, or if they have like a Ren's Resolve, that is sort of Ren's Resolve mixed with the pump spell. That's not gonna be lethal. And there is no lightning bolt in standard, so we have 2 life. They have a fling? Okay. GG. Sure. Why not? Ay. That was a skill issue on my part. Should have gone first. Alright. This does have trample, so maybe I should be running it out instead of the evolving adaptive, but I feel like we can get the evolving adaptive going. It can be pretty nice. Opponent has a shock. Are they going to shock the evolving adaptive or the sharp-eyed rookie? Evolving adaptive it is. I feel like they should have gone for the sharp-eyed rookie, but okay. Nope, my bad. I misunderstood. You have the bird, so therefore you win. We are going first this time, so there is a chance that we can just power through. We're gonna have a lot of damage next turn. You're in Blade Splitter, or Bane Splitter. 5 damage. Can they give it double strike and make it 7 power? Nope, that's still pretty good. Do they have the fling? Do they have the fling? Okay, they do not. Alright, do we get to live? Yay, we live! We win first, let's go. The funny thing is we still could have lost that last game if we, if they had the Cal of Sellsword, because they could just use the 1 mana burn together thing and kill us because their creature had power 10 power, smacked us for 10, and then they fling it and we're dead. The power of a lot of the kind of like mono red cheese strategies. I feel like we were gonna want the hard-hitting questions. This gives us clues. These are really hard. Toss the Pawpatch Recruit if we really wanted to. Not bad. There is no winning. Ay caramba. Is it worth getting rooted there, Forsaken Miner? I'm just gonna run out the Innkeeper's talent for right now and start pumping things. Then just keep hitting face. I don't think we're going to be winning any races here, but I can dream. I mean, if they just play another Corpses of Loss, we're dead. I mean, I have to block, but it's a land. Get wrecked. Thank goodness that it enters tapped. I will take my damage. And if they have another skeleton, they can haste in, we lose, but I don't care. We're not going to win by not attacking, to be honest. Which one of these is best to remove? Well, I mean, this is the only one we can remove, but it doesn't really matter. As long as we don't die here and we can kill the opponent on their turn, which I don't think we can. But we'll find out. It's 9 damage. They block 2 effectively with the lifelink, so we actually perfect them. My goodness, 1-0. That was a race. And we won it. Let's go. But yeah, I don't think holding back there would have done much. Okay. This is a good hand. This is a good hand. I like it. I don't like it. I see Boros and they win first. This isn't fair. Run it back. Go back. Oh, Naya? But they've played nothing. They have to have a Helix. Let's run out the Bloomkin. I prefer about keeping this Curator if I can. They probably have Helix though. This is gonna be a hard. Oh, I have to get lost. Like... Got the Outcaster Trailblazer into hard hitting question synergy. Nope, never mind. I will play land. An Evolving Adaptive, and then a Kenn-Eyed Curator. That should trigger both the Evolving Adaptives. Then next turn we can trigger it with the Bloomkin, or if we draw a land, we can go Outcaster Trailblazer into Flourishing Bloomkin. Can you just stop? Is that an option? 4 maps. Innkeeper's talent is huge. We do like our Innkeeper's talent. We're gonna give him Ward 1. We'll spread the love. And they concede because they're, I guess, drawing rough. Hey, we'll take it. One more win. I irrationally want to win this so bad because this will get us to Plat 2. Or sorry, not Plat 2. Plat 3. We'll have gone all the way from Plat 4 to Plat 3 in this video. And we'll end 8-2 if we can get this win. Trying to go for the perfect 10 games, like a solid 10 game block here. This hand is very questionable. The opponent's playing mono black and we did not draw any of our classes. Not a good sign. And they have the Broncos. They're gonna start getting card advantage. Probably should have mulliganed if I knew I was gonna top deck 2 lands. Was it actually 2 lands? I mean, try and force a trade here because the Bronco's gonna draw them cards, and so that's more valuable than a big fat creature, I think. Another big fat creature. Unfortunate. Please don't remove the Bloomkin. It's done nothing wrong. I think the Magic Gods did not want me to win this one. Oh my god.
I'll have this fight finished before brunch.
First off, we go second, and then they go... They didn't have a 1-drop. I'll give them that. So if they had like the... What is the 1-drop skeleton dude? If they had him, things would be bad, but... You know, we can still win. I'm just going to cope and tell myself that. I don't care about discarding a card to Liana. I can also nice or hard-hitting questions hit. Hard-hitting questions is nice because it's one of the few fight spells that can also hit planeswalkers, which does matter.
We all have things.
The fight of the monocolors. One of the best monocolors versus the definitive worst monocolor. And we drew another land. That's 7 lands in the top 12. We're playing 22 lands. That cannot be likely.
Drop it.
I will. It had to be the least helpful creature here. If it was 4 power, we could blow up their Liliana, but... yeah, that's... I'm sorry. There's no into that game. Welp. We were so close, but so far. Alright, that's going to do it for today's deck. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, consider subscribing. Also, consider checking out the previous video where we played a Jund kind of mid-range deck. It wasn't very good, but I would appreciate any kind of input on how to make that deck better. As I said, I'm struggling with Bloomburrow, so let me know if you have anything that's working for you. I'd love to try it out. Also, shout out to Saworz, who was the untapped.gg user who came up with this deck. It is an absolute bomb. We went 7-3 with the deck, and we went 20-8 overall. So 7-3 in the video here, that's 70% win rate, and then 20-8, that's a 71% win rate over the course of me playing this deck. So yeah, this deck works. It's just good, I guess. Anyways, have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, wherever and whenever you're watching. Ciao.